Alright, welcome back. Here we are again, Tommy Tinkers. We're going to tile this bathroom with some slate. And that's only some of it. There's a lot more. I just don't know how much I'm going to need. First things first, you want to make sure that you take everything out of the area that's going to be in your way. You can take up the toilet, you want to take out all the trim. So I'm going to get to that and we'll be back. Okay, now that we've got everything basically out, the next step is to make sure that all of the nails that held in all the trim that are stuck into the floor come out. You're going to take up as much of this as possible so it doesn't mess up your hardy board. Make sure to stuff a rag into the drain pipe where where the toilet was. Otherwise, you'll be smelling all those gases from the drain line. And so now I'm going to finish getting this cleaned up and we'll start laying some hardy.
I'd like to say to you that you passed by without a second glance. So many times I want to open up to you, but then I throw away another chance to say anything. And another day has gone by that I haven't taken the time to send my arms out to save my life. Why do I hide these feelings inside and let myself fall behind to miss the reach of the passerby? Could it be a rain of doubt that breaks the arms of our hearts to keep us from reaching out to those who need us most? Or could the devil himself have a grip on our tongues to keep our voices quiet from spilling out what we feel? And another day has gone by.
Oh, hey, I didn't even see you guys there. So, alright, so what I've done is the last couple of times that I ran slate, I took all of the casing off the door frames, but I'm not going to do that this time. I've got this slide ruler square level combo. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to mark it the thickness of this, which is about 7/8 of an inch, and I'm going to mark the trim and then cut it with this little oscillator, and that should give us everything that we need. So I'm going to get to it. There, wasn't that fun? Alright, so what you didn't see me do was mix up some thin set to lay down the Hardy board. If you don't thin set your Hardy board down to the subfloor, it can cause one of these motions and it'll crack all your tile. You don't need that. Always dry fit all your pieces before you go to put them in for the final time. That way you know they fit. So I've got all my pieces cut. I'm going to start spreading mud around and putting the pieces in. Now on these pieces they have a bunch of little circles every 6 to 8 inches or so. It's important to put a screw on every single one of those marks. They're designed that way for a reason. Just do it. Just do it. You'll be much happier if you do. And so will I, knowing that you're doing the right thing. So you just take your mud, throw it down in a few spots. You don't want to spread too much that you can't get yourself out. You don't want to mud yourself in. Or spread so much that you can't reach the end of where you're spreading your mud at. I just start with a little bit and mix it around. And that's kind of what you're looking for, is those marks. And when that Hardy board sits on there, it'll flatten out and it'll harden right to the subfloor. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this up, and you know, you'll see.
Mother Mary, how can this be? Can you tell me how you felt? Mother of God, since you've been gone, we've nearly lost ourselves.
Alright, when you're putting these screws in on every single one of these holes, and I would go just a little bit beyond, there's like a finger on every 6 to 8 inches on the edge. But when you're setting these, what you don't want is for them to be above the surface. You want to set them just slightly. But don't go too far in that it drives all the way through. That can cause problems. So I'm going to go ahead and screw this one down and finish setting all the Hardy board. Okay, so now as you can see, I've got all the screws in, and I know when you do this too, you will also put in all the screws like you should, because you're good people and you're not cheaters. So now, now we gotta spread some more thin set on top of our Hardie so we can start laying tile. It's important when you go around the toilet. I have left the old flange there because when we put the tile on top of the HardieBacker, it's going to be above the old flange. So I've got an additional flange that's going to go on top of this one to raise the flange at least level with the top of the slate, because you don't want the flange to be underneath the surface where the toilet is going to sit. It'll cause you all kinds of problems. So don't do that. So I'm going to start setting tiles in as much as I can. Leave the old toilet ring. And you want to make sure that the tile that you put around the toilet flange are somewhat flat, otherwise the toilet will rock. It's not impossible to deal with, but it'll prevent you from having to wedge it and try to balance it. So, without further ado,
The candle we lit has long since gone cold. Since the flies fell in the wax.
hey, if you enjoyed that video, just wait. I've got maybe one more up my sleeve at the moment. I'm just kidding. There's a whole lot more coming. The only hang up to that is I've got to get more materials and more time, seeing as I've got a full-time job as well. So, like I said, if you like the video, drop that like button, smash it. I don't care what you do with it. Just don't break your phone so you can subscribe as well. And then stay tuned for the next exciting episode of, Tommy Tinkers.